Hey everyone! So today we are going to make these adorable tiny crocheted hearts. And these make a really fun Valentine's Day gift if you want to put them on earring posts, and you can make cute little earrings, or you can make magnets out of them, or put them on a little clothespin and make little clips out of them. They're just super fun, but they're really tiny. I mean, if you can see that, that's how big they are, just super tiny. So anyway, these are really fun. I'm going to show you the materials that you need. So you need to have some floss. I just like the DMC floss. Any sort of floss will work for this. And you're going to need a really skinny crochet hook. This is actually a 1.65 millimeter crochet hook. So it's really tiny. It's got a really fine little hook at the top. And you do need that if you're using the floss. Also, if you're going to turn it into earrings, you'll need some earrings, earring posts and earring backs, and then a pair of scissors, and that is about it. If you're going to glue them onto earring posts, you will need a little bit of hot glue, or possibly one of those heavy-duty glues that can glue to metal, like the Gorilla Glue or some other glue of that sort as well. But I found the hot glue works pretty well. So to do this today, because it's really hard to see the crocheting with a tiny crochet hook and with the floss, I'm actually going to use just a thicker yarn today so that you can get the details of the crochet pattern a little more easily. So we'll move that out of the way. I'm just using a thicker yarn, and you can, this same pattern will work for thicker yarn as well as a thinner, but I do love the teeny little hearts that you can create with floss, but it's just a little harder to see. So what we're going to do to start is we're going to create a slip knot, and I do that by pulling my yarn through the circle there. I know that people do this differently. Find which way works best for you. You're just making a knot that if you slide the string, it'll come off. So that's like a slip knot. So I make a circle, I grab through my circle, grab my yarn, make a loop. And your tail, it doesn't really matter right now. We're going to end up cutting that off in the end, so it doesn't really matter how long your tail is. Okay, so we've got our slip knot hooked onto our hook here. And we're going to begin by chaining 2. So you chain 1, and you want to keep these fairly loose at the beginning, your chains, because you are going to end up working your whole pattern into this first chain, so you don't want to go too tight. So chain 2. Okay, so now that we have our 2 chains on there, you're going to see how this, I'm going to try to open it up a little bit. That first chain, that's what we're going to be working the rest of the heart into. And so you need to have the little hole there where you can get your hook in and work the rest of your stitches. So we're working into that first chain, one of those spots on that first chain. So now we're going to do 2 double crochets into that little hole that keeps kind of closing because I keep opening up my keep pulling on my hook, but we're going to work right into there. So we're going to do 2 double crochets. So yarn over, go through the loop, pull through 2, pull through 2. I know it's kind of tricky to see, so we're going to do one more. So yarn over, go through our hole, pull through 2, pull through 2. So we've created the very top of one side of our heart, and we still want to keep this hole, the first chain, that's the one we're going to work in for the entire heart. So we're keeping that hole kind of open, kind of big. You don't want to tighten everything up yet because it'll make it hard to get into that little hole. So now we're going to do 2 half double crochets. So the way you do a half double crochet is you yarn over, you go through your loop like you would for a double crochet, you pull through, and then instead of going yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, you're going to yarn over and pull through all 3 loops at once. So we're going to do that one more time. You're going to do 2 of these. So you yarn over, go through your stitch, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through all 3. So that is actually almost the complete half of our heart. So now we're going to do 1 double crochet. This is actually making the very bottom point. And again, we're going into that same hole that we have worked through this whole time. So this is just a double crochet. So you're going to yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2. Okay. So now we actually have the entire first half of our heart. You can kind of see it taking shape. It's upside down. but when it'll be flipped, it'll be that way. So anyway, this is half of our heart. So now we're going to do the exact same thing that we just did on this side, but we're going to just do it again on this side. So we're going to do, we don't do the double crochet that we just did because that's our point. So that's our actual center point. So now we're just working this part of the heart. So we're doing 2 half double crochets. So remember, we go through that and then we go through all 3 loops. Do another one of those, half double, pull through 3. And then we are going to do 2 double crochets. 1, 2, and then we're going to chain 2 to finish it off. So chain 1. These do not go back into that center hole. These are the only things that are not being worked back into that center. So now we are actually done, but we have to connect our 2 chains up to the top of our heart, if you can see that. So we're going to go through and grab, I'm going through that center hole and I'm grabbing my yarn. Kind of went through it and under it. So I'm going to do that part again. So we're right here and we want to go through the center, grab my yarn behind. So now I have 2 loops on. Go through. You're kind of just closing up the whole thing, and then we actually can cut our yarn, and then we can pull our hook off and pull through that yarn, and then we can start tightening up using our 2 ends. So if you start pulling, you can create more of the heart shape by just pulling on your ends. And then you might need to kind of fluff it up a little bit, make it a little bit more heart-like. And then what I like to do is I like to put those ends, if I'm making an earring, I like to just kind of pull them back because it actually helps make your little cave in the center part a little bit more prominent, and it just makes a perfect little heart. And you can actually just, I like to just kind of, especially if I'm turning these into earrings or a magnet, I like to just hot glue my ends like right to the center here, trim it, and then you can hot glue your earring back or your magnet just right onto the back of that. If you are going to leave this like loose and you want it to be visible from all angles, you may want to just weave in your ends into your heart. But since we're turning these into other things, I think it's perfect just the way it is. And that is it, my friends, and you have these perfect little hearts that you can give out to all those people that you love for Valentine's Day. See you later!